This segment of the Sports Narrative Radio Show is backed by Xena Communications. Internet, Wi-Fi, IT, cloud services, and security cameras. Get connected in your home or office today. Call or click for your free consultation in the DFW area.
As we do when we start segment one here, we do have a discussion about the sports world in general, or something that's on my mind, basically. And this week, what's on my mind is the ethics of sports reporting. And what really brought this to mind was, of course, a Twitter battle or a text battle that we always do when events happen. And of course, this week's the bone of contention was the Adam Schefter report about Jason Pierre Paul that we had just breaking last week when we were on the air with you Wednesday, about tweeting out the picture of Jason Pierre Paul's medical records. And you, Mr. Copening, took quite a bit of offense to this, correct?
Yeah. It's a huge violation of privacy.
Yeah.
And for those who have not caught up completely with this story, you may have heard the injuries to Jason Pierre Paul. Rumors were going around for several days of how bad the damage was. And Adam Schefter confirmed the injuries and sent the picture of, it was like his digital medical chart, like it was off of a computer.
Right.
So someone in the hospital had screenshot the computer and sent it to Schefter. My issue is this wasn't in response to a huge rally cry of you don't have sources and show us what you have.
Right. He just did it.
Threw it out there.
Yeah.
And you
Does
saw...
Schefter pay for those pictures, you think?
I don't know. It doesn't matter, though. I mean,
I'm just wondering how he gets them.
This is my question. If Adam Schefter goes out there and says that the guy's had his finger amputated, he's got a reliable source, who is going to question him? He's Adam freaking Schefter.
However, and we had this, I'm going to get right back to that, but we did have the incident this week of David Aldridge, a very respected NBA reporter, came out and said, I have a source telling me that Mark Cuban is driving around Houston texting.
It wasn't David Aldridge. It's Chris Broussard. He was the opposite, who is the exact opposite of a reliable source.
Well, yeah.
And that's the problem in Chris Broussard, and that was completely wrong. I mean, first he tweets out and says he's driving around Dallas.
Yeah.
Then corrects it and says Houston. And the whole time the story comes out from the beat reporters who are there, Tim McMahon and Shimona Relburn. I'm butchering her name.
Yep.
Ramona Shelbourne.
There it is.
Racist. There we go. She and Tim McMahon combined to write the story that went up yesterday on ESPN of everything that happened. And lo and behold, Mark Cuban went to DeAndre Jordan's house earlier the day before.
Right.
So it was
and he was
so
there
absurd.
in a hotel. Yeah, I mean
And he talked to him and said he was on a date or something.
I have to say though, what's hilarious is the back and forth on that, where Cuban said to Chris Broussard, "I will give $100,000 to charity if you show me any proof that I was driving around Houston texting."
I love Mark Cuban. I mean, how do you not love him? But as far as to your point about the reporting, I think a lot of that has to do with the media. And when we had Jamie on, she kind of alluded to this. But the instant gratification, it's becoming more about who's first as opposed to who's right.
Exactly.
And it's become a problem. And with the medical records, he was the first one out there, and that's fantastic. But to be a professional like he is, you have to think, and he's not bound by HIPAA, FYI, so he has no qualms.
Yeah. There's
But
no
the
legal
person-
repercussions for him.
But the person that
I don't know.
No, they're not.
It depends on how he acquired them. If he purchased them illegally from the person, like if the person at the medical facility rolls on him and says, "Yeah, man, he gave me $10,000 to get this out,"
$100,
right, or whatever. I'm pretty sure.
Which
it's gonna
I don't
be
think Adam
expensive.
Schefter did that, and that's what was so confusing about this. Is he's not the type
I don't
of
think
person,
so either. I'm saying that's the only time he has to worry about medical. I'm sure he asked somebody, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to be a source. Here you go."
I don't know if that's true, because one of the things when we were looking into this and I was kicking this around, of course, Jason Pierre Paul could sue the hospital for a breach of privacy.
Oh, I think he should, without question.
Well, what does the hospital do in order to, because clearly they're in the wrong, and they'll fire this dude and whatever, but the hospital will get sued, not the individual, because that's where the money is.
Right.
So then the next step is, how does the hospital make themselves right? They sue ESPN.
It could get ugly.
Why wouldn't they?
Well, and this comes down to...
For saying this guy came in our place and took private documents.
Okay, so
You
but
gotta
how do you
prove that.
I got a better question since we're talking about the ethics. How does a company like ESPN protect itself and police basically hundreds of writers with access to instant
Well, I mean, you
Twitter
see,
and all of that? I mean, this is becoming something that's uncontrollable.
What you have to realize is that, thankfully, our legal system has made it virtually impossible to sue a media company for what you're talking about because of the First Amendment and because of right to know of knowledge. Is it possible? There's probably a 1% possible chance. It's the same reason there's a 1% chance Mark Cuban could try and sue Steve Ballmer and get some money back, but he's not going to do it because the case is probably going to get dismissed before it goes to court. Even if it does go to court, you're probably going to lose, and even if you do win, there is precedent to where the Supreme Court will come in. If anyone remembers the Food Line versus CBS, I believe it was, case where they went undercover and exposed that they're repackaging meat. What a lot of people don't know is that Food Line won the lawsuit against, again, I believe it was CBS. Maybe I'm mistaking there. But ultimately, the court awarded them $1.
But see,
because they were making the statement that it's still more important for information to get out there. So ultimately, you're going to spend more money trying to win this lawsuit than you're probably ever going to get
I
back.
think with the Mark Cuban thing, you're correct. With the JPP thing, you're talking about something completely different. Now you're talking about the medical records. I think he's got a completely valid case that he was damaged from somebody. Now the problem is you got to figure out who, and that's where the legal
It's all going to lead back to the
will come
hospital,
out.
though, and they've got money.
But if you go to court and argue, you're going to say you're not damaged because a report leaked that you got your finger amputated. You're damaged because you got your finger amputated. It did not lead to any financial damage.
In with the reporting of the JPP story, one of the things as more information came out after last week. So from all the reports that I was reading, basically that, you know, it happened. He was in the hospital. They were trying to figure out what was happening. The Giants sent officials there, but Jason Pierre Paul would not let them in the room, and basically were keeping them out. So he was trying. Now, granted, how long
Was he
is that
trying to
gonna
go to the
last?
Clippers?
No, unfortunately not. But yeah, so that's one of the things. There was a situation there where he was trying to protect himself, and the story got out. Now, as you said,
Well, he was trying to make a decision to amputate a finger or not, and he didn't want the team to weigh in.
Right.
I mean, because you're talking about amputating your finger, and the reason he amputates the finger is because it actually allows for him to recover faster.
Right. So if they would have came in the room, they would have agreed with them. So I have to think that maybe one
well, yeah,
of them
but
got
maybe
in.
at the time he didn't want to do it because he didn't want to lose
man,
the finger.
that's his finger, man, and so he has every right to keep them blocked out. Again, ultimately, he was going to lose that $60 million deal the moment they found out he lost a finger.
Right.
Oh, let me ask you this:
You
could he
know.
have saved his finger and missed all next year?
I haven't
hard
read
to
the
say.
specifics, but essentially, it was not going to be as if that finger was going to be like new at any point in time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
He's
got
got
a
9
finger.
of. He's got plenty. He
He
doesn't
just needs a
need-
cosmetic glove.
Look at Ronnie Lott.
Yeah, ask Jimmy Fallon. He almost lost a finger last week.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah,
Relevant to the
Really?
story.
Yeah, he fell and caught his wedding ring on a table.
oh no,
That's why I don't wear one. No, they teach you
That's
that in the
why.
military. Swear to God, I swear. In the military, when you're working around cannons and tanks and high places, they tell you do not wear your wedding ring because if you get it hooked and fall and you weigh 180 pounds, you
Yep.
basically have a piece of sheet
That
metal
actually-
ripping the skin off at 180
That
pounds
actually
of
happened
pressure.
to UPS. A guy lost his full finger because
Yeah.
he got it hung up on a.
Well, I
on a
wasn't.
shoot.
I wasn't
Just don't
clear
get
on that.
married.
You're still working around tanks and high places. I didn't know.
There you go.
I work in high places often,
All
actually.
right, so
Very high
okay,
places.
so let's go with this. If you're standing in that hospital room and you're a reporter for, let's say let's put a Cowboys slant on it there for you, Dustin. Let's say it's Des Bryant in the hospital and he's lost a finger and someone shows you that medical record. What do you do?
What do you mean if I'm a reporter? Like if I'm, you're
we have
saying
to
if I'm a
explain what a
reporter,
reporter is?
what do I do?
Yeah.
I run with the story. I mean,
But you're not going to tweet out the medical
no.
record.
And if someone really calls me on it, and they really call me on it, I'll call them up on the phone and say, if you want to see the medical record, I will show it to you.
Drive over here and look at it.
Exactly. I will. I am telling. I'll do the Mark
I'm in
Cuban.
Houston.
I'll give you Mark
Okay,
Cuban.
so you're saying you would take the picture of the medical record, but you wouldn't publish it.
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
I'm fine with that.
Interesting.
My problem is with the publishing of it on Twitter where it went out to literally millions of people now have access to his medical records.
It's
There's
responsible reporting.
What if
You CYA, but you don't CYA by blasting it out for everyone to see.
What if he went through and redacted it? What if he went through and he marked off all the stuff that didn't say Jason Pierre Paul?
Everyone knows who it is, though. I mean,
well, no, but I'm saying but I'm saying like any other information that would be in there, like blood type or whatever else is on this chart.
Maybe it's a little better at that point in time, but no. Like I said, you hold on to that information, and if someone really is pressing you for it, you say, "Listen, I'll show you. If you want, I will show you. And if you still press this issue, I will go live and say, I have offered to show them the proof, and they have turned it down because I am a reporter, a responsible reporter. I am not going to broadcast this out."
Interesting.
And then you stand by it. And again, a guy like Adam Schefter has nothing to lose by saying that.
I wouldn't even have thought twice if they had said, if Adam Schefter would have come out and said, "Hey, JPP lost his finger." I wouldn't. Who the heck is going to go, "I need you to prove this"? And that's where Schefter, I think he got a little giddy and excited. And is there any precedence for this? Has there ever been a scenario where a reporter got a hold of a medical record, and I know the new media is a little new, but I mean still, and reported this information like this before?
Not with a medical record, but we have seen this with, police records.
Police records are made public.
Yeah, police records are public knowledge. You can request
But if
those.
something
That's
is
different.
but if you have something that's sealed because there's an investigation.
Okay, now they shouldn't be getting into the sealed because then you're into the court. See, that's the
and
actual
that's a whole can of worms.
discussion here comes down to the fact that it's medical records and you have a right to privacy. I am the first one to tell you, if you sign an NFL or a major league contract, if somebody's paying you millions of dollars and you don't want your picture taken on the beach, don't take the millions of dollars to go get a job at Walmart. I draw the line at medical
figure.
Right, at medical records. It doesn't matter if you're an actor, a ball player, even a political person. I don't care. Those things are irrelevant to what this person needs to do. And people will say, "Well, JPP, because I think this was your argument. He's a football player. We need to know his injuries and all of that." That's fine. That's for the team and him to make the decision on how to release it.
Find more by subscribing to this channel and visiting us at www.thesportsnarrative.com. Join us every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Central for a live edition of the Sports Narrative Radio Show hosted by Xena Communications.